Every morning, Balian makes breakfast for 3 people, but only one of them is still alive. She boils water. She arranges small dishes of food. She lights incense and speaks quietly to 3 photographs on a wooden altar. Then she goes to make her son's coffee. A Dutch woman named Noor watches this happen every morning for 14 days. She's a social worker. She's trained to read people. She takes notes. She thinks she understands what she's seeing. She is wrong. Not once. Not twice. Every single time. Balian is 71 years old. She wakes before anyone else in the apartment. The kitchen is dark. The city outside is quiet. She moves like someone who has done this 10,000 times. Because she has. Balian spent most of her life as a seamstress in Haiphong. She bent over fabric in low light. She made things fit. She made things last. She is a practical woman. She doesn't use large words. The altar in the main room holds 3 photographs: her husband, who died in 1987, her mother, who died in 1994, and a small photograph of a boy, her son, who died at age 4 in 1979. She has tended this altar without a single interruption for 38 years. Noor arrived 3 days ago. She's here for 2 weeks. A homestay placement arranged through a development program. She's observant. She's kind. On her second morning, she watches Balian at the altar. She quietly takes a photograph. She thinks the altar is beautiful. She thinks she is witnessing grief. She is witnessing something, but it is not grief. The family is moving apartments in 14 days. Balian's son tells her carefully, "The way you tell someone news you know they won't like." The new apartment is smaller. His wife has already decided where everything will go. The altar moves to a shelf in the bedroom. For his wife, who grew up in a secular family in Ho Chi Minh City, this is a practical decision. There is space in the bedroom. There is no space in the living room. For Balian, this is not a conversation about space. But she cannot explain why. Not in words her daughter-in-law will feel. Stage 1, Noor opens her notebook. She writes, "Family shrine, Buddhist influence, symbolic and decorative." She's satisfied with this. She's categorized what she's seeing, and the category feels right. It isn't. The altar is not symbolic to Balian. The people in those photographs are not represented there. They are present there. Noor's framework. Grief made visible. Love made physical is a reasonable interpretation. It is also completely wrong. Stage 2, Noor overhears the argument. She doesn't understand Vietnamese, but she understands the shape of the conversation. An elderly woman is upset. A family is being unkind. She decides to help. She tells Balian's son, carefully, in her professional voice, that it's important to let elderly people keep rituals that connect them to those they have lost. The son translates this to his mother. Balian goes still. She looks at Noor for a long moment, long enough that Noor feels it in her chest. Then Balian says something in Vietnamese. The son doesn't translate immediately. He looks at the floor. What she said was, "She thinks I am doing this for myself." Noor has now made the misunderstanding visible. She still doesn't know what the misunderstanding is. Stage 3, 3 days before the move. Balian asks her son to arrange for a monk to perform the altar-moving ritual correctly. The ritual requires a specific sequence of steps, a date approved by the lunar calendar, and the burning of incense. Her son asks his wife. His wife checks with the new building. There is a fire regulation. No incense burning in units or common areas. The regulation is real. The correct ritual is now practically impossible, regardless of anyone's intentions. Balian sits with this for 1 full day. Then she begins to wrap the altar objects herself. She works carefully. She speaks quietly as she wraps each one. Not praying, just talking, her voice low and matter-of-fact. Noor stands in the doorway and watches. She cannot read what she is seeing. Here is what Noor believed for the first 12 days. The altar was for Ba-Lian, a place to keep the people she had lost, a structure built from love and grief, threatened by a family that didn't understand what it meant to take it away. This is a reasonable thing to believe. It is the wrong thing to believe. To understand Ba-Lian's altar, you need to understand one thing in Vietnamese folk belief, shaped by Buddhism, Taoism, Confucian thought, and spirit traditions older than all of them. The dead do not simply go away, they continue. They remain connected to their family. They can be hungry. They can be cold. They can be disoriented by a careless move to a new place. The living are not just permitted to tend to the dead. They are obligated to. An altar is not a memorial, it is an address. The food Ba-Lian places there every morning is not symbolic food. In her understanding, it is food for people who are present and hungry. When she speaks to the photographs, she is not talking to memories. She is talking to residents. On the morning before the move, Noor wakes early. She finds Ba-Lian alone at the altar, all the objects wrapped and ready, but Ba-Lian still speaking to it. Her voice is calm. She sounds like someone organizing a practical matter. Later, Noor asks the son what his mother was saying. He thinks for a moment. She was telling them where they are going, he says. She was telling them not to be afraid. Noor stands in the kitchen. For the first time, she understands she had the direction of this relationship exactly backwards. Ba-Lian's son finds a monk willing to come on the correct lunar day. The monk performs a simplified blessing in the new apartment, shorter than the full ritual, adapted for a small bedroom. Using electric incense to comply with the building's fire regulation. It is not the complete ritual. Ba-Lian knows it is not the complete ritual, but she is present for every moment of it. She speaks her explanations to the altar. She moves the dead with as much care and formality as the circumstances allow. Her daughter-in-law stands in the doorway and watches. She doesn't interfere. Something shifts in her face, not understanding exactly. Recognition that something real is happening, even if she cannot name what it is. The altar goes to the bedroom shelf. Not the main room. Ba-Lian knows the difference. A main room altar means the dead are at the center of the household. Present at meals, present during arguments, present when guests arrive. A bedroom altar means something else. The dead are still cared for, but they have been quietly reclassified. They are now a private matter, managed in a back room, away from the flow of daily life. Ba-Lian doesn't say this out loud. Every morning now, she walks past the living room, where the altar used to be, and into the bedroom, where it is now. She places the same food. She lights the electric incense. She speaks to the photographs. The obligation continues. The dead are still fed. But the apartment does not feel the same as before. She knows it. She tends the altar anyway. We spend a lot of time thinking about how we remember the people we've lost. Ba-Lian asks a different question. Not how do I remember them, but how do I take care of them? Does your family have an altar, or something like one? What does it hold? Tell us in the comments.